president did repeatedly seem to be ad-libbing when he was remarking on the expected impact of the economic decisions he's already made 6 weeks in, saying that the American people would have to bear with him. The president, in his, what we believe was ad-libbing, we did not have prepared remarks from the president, which is unusual. White Houses usually distribute prepared remarks, so we don't know what was digression from those remarks and what was ad-lib. Roiling that we saw in the markets is something that he knows he caused, but he hopes people will not mind.
Imagine this. Donald Trump, freshly off another bizarre rally rant, gets asked on live TV if he'd abuse his power if re-elected. His reply will shock you. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Rachel Maddow didn't just critique Donald Trump, she obliterated him. You could call it a verbal wrecking ball, one swing after another, leaving him scrambling for cover. The way she broke him down live on air was brutal but meticulous, peeling away each layer of his carefully constructed persona. Starting with his string of failures, from his fumbling 2024 campaign to the mountain of legal troubles piling up like unpaid bills, Maddow didn't miss a beat. And, of course, she didn't fail to highlight the absolute chaos surrounding his team, if you can even call it a team.
For the record, the worst inflation in this country was in 1980. For the record, the economy that he was left by President Biden was not a catastrophe. For the record, Social Security is not paying benefits in large numbers to 300-year-old people or 250-year-old people or 200-year-old people or 150-year-old people. Literally the best economy in the world, and was described by The Economist magazine as the envy of the world. That was the economy that was left to Donald Trump by Joe Biden.
One of her standout moments, tackling Trump's infamous day one dictator comment. You know, the one where he basically admitted he'd jump straight into strongman tactics if re-elected. Maddow called it for what it was, proof that Trump operates under the assumption that America works best as his personal stage. The arrogance of it all. And if that weren't enough, she pulled out one of his biggest blunders yet. Somehow, he and his legal circus accidentally leaked an unredacted court document that exposed their entire defense strategy, or lack thereof. Maddow didn't just point this out. She twisted the knife by saying it was like watching a group project where no one planned ahead. Then there were the anecdotes she brought in. She pulled up footage from one of his recent Iowa rallies where, mid-rant, Trump launched into an incoherent tangent about toilets and light bulbs. The punchline? Even his own crowd, usually ready to cheer for anything, erupted into awkward laughter. Maddow made sure to emphasize that this wasn't just embarrassing. It was a sign of how far he's fallen, even within his base.
For the record, U.S. auto company CEOs are not psyched and delighted and so excited about President Trump's economic policies, including his tariffs. The president flat out lied about U.S. versus European spending to support what used to be our allies in Ukraine. The U.S. has committed about $125 billion to Ukraine's defense. Take, for example, the CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, who said that Trump's tariff policies would, quote, blow a hole in the U.S. auto industry that, quote, we've never seen.
But Maddow wasn't just here for laughs. She contextualized everything within a bigger picture. Accountability finally catching up to the man who once claimed he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody without consequences. Her critique didn't end with America either. She teased how Trump's stumbles have turned him into a punchline around the globe, setting the stage for even more international ridicule. Donald Trump's reputation has taken a nosedive overseas, and Rachel Maddow made sure to highlight just how far he's fallen. Take, for instance, a German newspaper that flat-out called him Der Clown President. No sugarcoating, no diplomacy, just a blunt statement that captures how much of a laughingstock he's become on the global stage. Maddow used this as her opening jab, hitting hard on the shift in how world leaders and media now talk about the man who once touted himself as a master negotiator. It gets even better, or worse, depending on how you look at it. Maddow referenced Boris Johnson, someone who isn't exactly known for restraint, apparently joking that Trump was a bit too much even for my taste. Imagine being so chaotic that Boris, the king of messy politics, distances himself. And speaking of chaotic, Maddow didn't miss the opportunity to dig into that time Trump confused Hungary and Turkey.
For the record, Joe Biden did not close over 100 power plants. There were more utility-sized power plants up and running in the United States when Joe Biden left office than when he achieved office. The president radically misstating the character and quantity of our relative support for what used to be our ally, now appears to be only Europe's ally and no longer ours. For the record, there is no EV mandate. For the record, oil and gas production in the United States hit all-time records under President Joe Biden.
It wasn't some minor slip-up either. The State Department reportedly had to scramble afterward to smooth things over, which Maddow framed as yet another example of Trump's unpreparedness, leaving his team in cleanup mode. Then there were the policy decisions that left foreign leaders scratching their heads. Maddow brought up Trump's suggestion that NATO allies let Russia handle Europe's security, calling it reckless and more than a little bizarre. And of course, who could forget his infamous idea of buying Greenland? According to Maddow, this was Trump at his most absurd, a rerun of a plan Denmark didn't even humor years prior. All of this plays into Maddow's larger point. Trump isn't feared, admired, or even respected anymore. Instead, he's a punchline.
For the record, even Doge has never claimed that they have saved hundreds of billions of dollars in savings, the largest items they have claimed to achieve as savings in the U.S. budget. For the record, I will note that Donald Trump did admit in his remarks today explicitly that Elon Musk is the head of Doge. And while that comes as no surprise to anybody who's been following the facts of this matter, that will end up in court. At that point in the speech, when the president talked about how we will no longer be ruled by unelected bureaucrats, Democrats in the chamber pointed and laughed at Elon Musk.
His unhinged Truth Social posts and erratic outbursts only reinforce the caricature Maddow painted, a man clinging to relevancy as world leaders slowly back away, shaking their heads. She stressed how Trump's America First rhetoric hasn't just isolated him, but also the country, leaving not only his reputation fractured, but trust in U.S. leadership badly damaged. The result? Maddow framed it perfectly. Trump isn't leading a movement, he's leading himself straight to irrelevance. Trump's golden ego has finally met reality. Maddow's takedown didn't just expose the cracks, it shattered the illusion entirely. His arrogance, once his armor, has now left him vulnerable. Maddow illustrated how this isn't just a personal downfall. It's a moment where institutions, after years of bending, are finally holding power accountable. As she put it, democracy can prevail, but only if people stay engaged. That means organizing, voting, and demanding accountability. Trump's fall proves no one is untouchable when the system works. And really, isn't that the ultimate irony? The man who dodged everything now has nowhere left to hide.